I am a card-carrying charismatic. I agree with Rain Grudem. I agree with Sam Storms in their position on the Holy Spirit. And in response to JP and SA, I just want to say this. I agree with Jack Deere. I believe that his arguments are the strongest. They're even stronger than Wayne Grudem. If you look at Jack Deere's book, Surprised by the Voice of God, not his second one that just came out, which is really great, why I am still surprised by the voice of God. But Jack Deere's first book, why I'm surprised by the voice of God. Sorry, take the Y out. Surprised by the voice of God. He's got a section in there called chapter 16 and chapter 19. Why doesn't God speak to me like that? Okay, I think this goes to the core of why cessationists are cessationists. They start here. I've never had charismatic experiences. Then they go through Bible college. Then they go through seminary. Still haven't had any charismatic experiences. And they end up forming a theology called cessationism around it. Here's the harsh reality that Jack Deere, who used to be a Old Testament professor at Dallas Theological Seminary for a number of years. He was a cessationist. He was a card-carrying cessationist. And then he met John Wimber and became charismatic. And he became a prophet, for lack of a better word. A seer and everything. Here's the thing with him. He wrote a section, and this is harsh. It's gonna come down like a hammer. It's two problems with cessationists, why they don't have charismatic experiences. 1, unbelief. 2, pride. There it is. I just put my hands up. That's what he said. And of course, he's rooting that in his own experience. He's saying, I was too unbelieving about charismatic experience, and I was too prideful because I had my mind made up. And that cut the Holy Spirit off, the charismatic experience of the Holy Spirit off from him. That's what he found. And he apparently, by doing a life of charismatic conferences, he found that was the case with many people who are ex-cessationists. Their mind was made up. Don't confuse me with the facts. My mind's made up. That's the reason why they don't hear the Holy Spirit. That's why they don't hear the voice of the Holy Spirit. That's why they don't have dreams and visions from the Holy Spirit. My mind's made up. Don't confuse me with the facts. My mind's made up. Don't confuse me with the facts. That's why he says that. It is unbelief and skepticism and rationalism, which is just unbelief in the Bible, being an unbeliever. And pride. Pride. You have friends you don't want to give up because they'd all call you crazy. There's pride there's a pride associated with that. Now, most quote unquote sound Bible believing Baptists would never consider Charles Finney seriously. I understand that. But I was reading a Charles Finney sermon called The Self-Hardening Sinner's Doom. Please read it. And when you get to... see, he's talking about people hardening their hearts against God. And he refers to the journal of Jonathan Edwards. Now, most Baptists, conservative Baptists, consider Jonathan Edwards to be a good theologian, right? Well, Jonathan Edwards believed in hell dreams, kind of like Bill Weiss had, 23 Minutes in Hell, Mary Kay Baxter, A Divine Revelation of Hell. Jonathan Edwards believed in that because in his Hellfire sermons, he released faith and presence of God into his church, and people had hell dreams all the time like that. And in the Self-Hardening Sinner's Doom, if you can pull that up, that Charles Finney sermon online, and you type the word dreams in, it'll take you right to it. He calls him President Edwards. So there's there. Charles Finney believed in that. Jonathan Edwards believed in that. John Wesley believed in that, about having dreams of hell, that they're from the Holy Spirit. So that's that. There's another really greatly researched book called Miracles and Manifestations of the Holy Spirit in the History of the Church by Jeff Doles. If you go to chapter 7, all of the Covenanters, John Knox, all those people, they were sound in their Calvinist theology, and they were prophets. Many of those Scottish Reformation preachers were prophets. They were dream interpreters, and they'd get words of knowledge that way. So it's a long story, but, got to look into church history to be able to become a continuationist. It implies that there are aspects of church history that refute cessationism. There are because what is continuationism? Continuationism means continuing outside of the Bible into the lives of Christians. The Holy Spirit has done charismatic experiences. So the premise of continuationism is not just biblical interpretation related, it's also church history related. So people like Sam Storms and Jack Deere and Wayne Grudem, they look to the Covenanters, mainly John Knox and people like that. They also look, Sam Storms more so than any of those three guys, also looks to some of the Catholic saints as examples of people who had charismatic experiences in their lives. But one thing that they're all agreed on is definitely the Covenanters, John Knox, all those people. They were the complete opposite of cessationists. John Knox even did divine healing prayers. They had a prayer list that they would bring up to him. If you read that Jeff Doles thing, they had a divine healing prayer list that they brought up to him in his pulpit. So anyway, I'm going to let that go. God bless out there. This is John with WesleyGospel.com.